All right, so I will go ahead and get started here. So first off, thank you guys all very much for joining here today. We're very much looking forward to showing you what we can do around immigration in your practice. Here with me today is Vikram Kamra. He is the CEO and founder of LawAccounting. And my name is Zach Brenner. I'm a legal futurist here on the Filevine team. And the legal futures team, our job is to bring new software into our product base. And what we've done is we've created some immigration software, and together with Vikram's LawAccounting software, we're going to show you kind of an end-to-end best practice for how you might manage your immigration firm. So Vikram, if you wouldn't mind, take a few minutes, do an introduction, and then we'll jump into the presentation.
Thank you, Zach. Hello and welcome to everyone joining us today. I am Vikram Kamra, co-founder of LawAccounting. With over 25 years in the technology sector, I have specialized in case management for the past 6 years. Throughout my journey, especially during the 300 plus implementation of case management I have been involved in, one persistent challenge stood out: the disconnect between the legal and accounting software. This gap often leads to reduced efficiency and increased error, of course. So in response, what we did, we developed LawAccounting, a fully functioning SaaS-based accounting software tailored just for the law firms. Our platform offers robust capabilities, including trust, revenue management, and expense management, along with advanced reporting, analytics, and dashboards. Additionally, the whole core of this solution was to integrate seamlessly with Filevine so that we can offer you a unified platform designed to streamline your workflow and enhance operational efficiency. So I will not waste too much of your time on this marketing pitch. So let's see Filevine and LawAccounting in action. So back to you, Zach.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Vikram. All right, so I will go ahead here and move on to the next slide. So an immigration workflow, it's kind of a winding road, and we've worked with lots of different immigration clients pretty heavily this year. And what we found is that oftentimes our immigration clients have lots of different softwares trying to accomplish a couple of different things. And what we often find is that those softwares don't really speak together. And all of this really started with a very personal kind of story. So our head of our legal future team, Dr. Kane Elliott, his wife recently finished the immigration process to the United States to become a citizen. That process was super painful for both Kane and his wife, but it was also painful for the law firm. And so we realized that there was a big need in the marketplace to create some tools that would allow you all to operate in a more effective and more efficient manner. So what we wanted to do was bring automations into the workflow. We wanted to bring AI into the workflow, and we wanted to make sure that all the tools that you use really from beginning to end communicate successfully. So if we think about the journey that you follow with your clients, you have your intake and signups, you have document management, you have client communication, you have billing and payments, and then finally you have your form creation, and then ultimately we get a successful filing with the USCIS, right? So those are all the things that we're looking to do here with the platform, and that's what we're going to show you here today in our software. We have a couple of different things that we're going to show you. We're going to show you LeadDocket, which is going to handle the intake and signups. We're going to show you Filevine, which is going to handle the case management. We'll show you ImmigrationAI, which will deal with USCIS form generation. And then we'll show you LawAccounting, which will handle your financial management. Okay. So from here, we're going to dip in and we're going to actually go into the live presentation. So bear with me 1 second. All right. So here we are at our LeadDocket program. And this is really designed to help you streamline and automate your workflows when it comes to intake and signups, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to add a new lead to the system. And these leads can flow in lots of different ways. They can come from your website. They can come from call services. If you're plugged into Facebook or other ways that you want to market, it can all come that way. So I'll go ahead now and just kind of manually enter a lead as if we were taking a call from a client. And here I'm just going to put in some basic information. So this might be Samantha Smith. And all I'm going to do is just get the phone number and email address of that person Now I'm going to use my phone number and email address so I can show you guys a few things in terms of what the client interaction looks like. But I'll just put in those basic things. Of course, our system is going to check to see if there's duplicates. So if you've already worked with that lead, it'll give you a warning. But in this case, we're not going to worry about that warning. Okay. So again, I'm just gathering basic information, but you can see here that we have lots of places here for us to gather a lot of other information. Social security number, alien number, all these data points are things that ultimately may land on your USCIS filings. So we're trying to give you toolkits that will help you go ahead and gather that information along the way in a very efficient and automated process. So here I might indicate that someone saw us on a billboard or social media. I'll go ahead and choose that this is an immigration case type. This does work with all different kinds of case types. So if you have PI, other practices. And once we get there, we have some basic questions that we might ask along the way. Again, we're not going to worry about answering those right now. We want to work through this quickly, and we want to be very efficient so that we can talk to as many leads as we possible. Okay. So here I'm going to put this into assign status, and then I'm just going to go ahead and pick some staff members that I'm going to assign this to. I'll go ahead and hit create and view lead. Oh, and then I forgot a summary. So I want to immigrate from Venezuela. Okay. So I'll go ahead and hit create and view lead. And what this does is it creates a lead in our system that we can then start to interact with, right? We only gathered some basic data, phone number, email address, and what they wanted to do. We can then, from our system, go out to our forms tool, and we can send that lead a form. And that form can be delivered a couple of different ways. And you'll see throughout this demonstration that we try to help you interact with your clients. One of the core values that we showed early on was client communication. We try to help you communicate with your clients in the way they like to communicate. So in this example, I could either send this via email or I can send this via text message. I'll show you text messaging in a minute. I'll actually live get something on my cell phone. I'll grab that screenshot, bring it back up here so you guys can see it. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and send ourselves a form. You're going to have standard language that you can put into that form. You can on the fly customize it, but you can also customize that so that when it starts off, it's got the exact language you want. These can also go out in different languages, right? So if you have lots of clients that speak Spanish, that speak French, whatever language, we can set those up so that these messages go out that way. So I'll go ahead and hit send here. And what's going to happen is pretty quickly an email will make its way over to my inbox. We'll pretend that I'm the client. And then once I get that email, I will be able to go ahead and interact with that form. Okay. So I already got a notification on my phone. Let me go ahead and pull that email up on my screen here. Just bear with me 1 second. All right, so here we are. This is an email. They've sent me an intake form. Now I'm the client, and now we can gather additional information. Again, the questions that we want to gather along the way, this can all be customized, right? So here we can see that we get the data that they initially gave us. Maybe I want to put in some more information, like my address. Okay. Zip code, all of that other stuff we can add in here. And again, we can customize what we're asking our clients for, right? So maybe we're not asking them everything here, but we have other stuff that we would want to add. You guys can customize that as a part of the package that we have here today. Okay, so I'm just going to fill out some basic information here. And again, if we remember looking at the lead in the software, right now, all I have is some basic data, right? I'll come back over to my form. I will go ahead and submit that. And by the way, we can also put in uploads of passports, uploads of other documents. This will become important later on. Those documents ultimately can make their way into our immigration tool, where we can start to read those documents and pull information out of them, which can then be used later on your forms. So in this example, I'm just going to try to move quickly for the sake of time. I'll go ahead and submit that form. Now I'm going to pop back over to LeadDocket. You can hear that audio bing, lets me know that something happened. And then guess what? All the data that I input, that's all now available to us here over in LeadDocket. Okay, so now we've interacted with the client. They've given us all the other information that we might want to have in order to proceed working on this case. Okay, now we talked a little bit about automations already. We're already trying to work and communicate very quickly electronically. We have some other tools that we can do, right? So after we've gone through this intake process, we want to sign the client up. We need them to sign a document, right? So I'm going to go ahead and change this lead status from assigned into pending sign up. And then here, I'm going to click electronic signature. And what we're going to see pretty quickly is that once I make that change, you'll see over here that now we have a pending automation. Once we change the status, it's going to automatically email out a signature document, which our clients can then take in via their phone or via email. Okay, so just bear with me one more moment here. I should have a text message on my phone. I just want to grab a screenshot of that so you guys can see that kind of in real time here. So bear with me 1 second. Okay, and so now I will flip back over to show you the screenshot here. Okay. And so here we go. At the bottom, this is from my cell phone, and you can see Filevine expansion signature on the document. Please select the link to sign and review. So I can go ahead and do all those things here on my phone and complete that execution process. So again, lots of different ways that we're trying to help you automate, to help you be efficient, and to help you communicate back and forth with your clients. Okay. Now, we've gotten our clients signed up. We've gotten them to fill out extra data. All of that has happened electronically. The next thing we may want to do is get our first payment, right? So if we click over here on our payments link, we can click a payment request. And these payment requests can be linked back to your operating account, to your trust account, depending on how it is that you want to deal with that. And Vikram's going to talk a little bit about the accounting piece when we get to it. But in this example here, I'm just going to show a retainer fee. Again, I can choose to email or text. In this case, I'm going to email it so you guys can see that. We have our standard language here, but again, this can be customized. This can be overridden as you're creating it. And we even give you a place to put a note if you want to along the way. Okay. So I'll go ahead and hit send here. And then this is going to actually send a payment request over into my email. Again, we're pretending that we're the client here in both situations. All right. So bear with me one moment. This will make its way over into my email box. And here we go. So Bandito Law has sent me a payment request. I'll go ahead and click on make a payment. Once I do that, we can let the clients on the phone give us their credit card information, or we would be able to give this link to our clients if we wanted to, right? Again, in this example here, I was emailed the information, but just as well, I would be able to take this information from our client on the phone or if they were in our office. Don't worry about trying to steal our fake credit card number. It doesn't do anything, I promise. Oh. All right. So I went ahead, I submitted that payment request. That should process. What will happen next is over back in LeadDocket, you guys hear that audio ding again. If I simply refresh my screen here, I now will see that that payment has been completed, and those funds will have made it way back to our trust account. In this example, we had set up a retainer fee. So those are all the steps that we take in terms of moving our clients over from LeadDocket into Filevine. I'm sorry. Those are all the steps we take to gather our data from our clients. Once all of the lead process is done, we've got our payment, all that good stuff. we're ready to go ahead and push that client over into our case management system Filevine. So here I can click over on my pending Filevine cases. We'll see those cases are available to us, and then we can push those cases over into our Filevine system. Okay. Now, once we're over in Filevine here, now we have a robust place to be able to interact and keep track of more information and really let us manage our case from start to finish. We've got a document center, so every single project here will have a place to have documents as a repository. We have the contact information that we talked about pushing over in from LeadDocket. We can then gather additional information along the way if we need to. We've got a place for all of the height demographic information, if they have a current I-94, any of the relationships that you might manage along the way or that might be included on the USCIS filings. We have a place for those as well. We have a place for you to keep track of employment, address, marriage, travel, educational history. So all the components that you need to really get the information together to create your filing, we've got over here on the Filevine side. Okay. Now, once we sign up our client, typically we see a lot of our immigration users create payment plans. And so what we're going to show you next here is an automation that will help you go ahead and create those payment plans. We're then going to turn this over to Vikram, let him talk a little bit about the accounting side. But here I can just click add an item. I'm going to go down to billing. I'm going to choose that this is going to be a flat fee. This is going to be for our filing fee. I'll make myself the requester. I'll put in the request of today. Let's say this is going to be a $5,000 deal. We're going to invoice monthly. We're going to have them pay $1,000 up front and then do 12 payments. And you'll see it'll calculate that installment amount on the right-hand side based on what you put in for the initial amount, the total amount, and the number of payments. I'll go ahead and click on the payment start date. Let's say that we just took their first payment actually in LeadDocket. We don't need to take an upfront amount. We still want 12 payments, but we'll have those start here on January 12th. So what we'll do here is now hit create. The system is then going to go out and it's going to create all of those invoices. So if I click over into invoicing and payments, I may just have to give that a minute to run. But once I update my screen here, we should see it start to kick those off. So it'll take a minute for those to make its way over. But while it's doing that, Vikram, if you want to talk for a minute about the LawAccounting side, we should be able to also see those invoices over on LawAccounting. So let's go ahead and turn that over to Vikram, and then we'll be able to come back to Filevine, and I'll show you a few more things here before we do file creation.
Thank you. So let me share my screen. All right. So yeah, so what Zach was talking about, so whenever that project is getting created in the Filevine, it automatically get pushed to LawAccounting. So before we talk about the integration point, let me just give you a quick overview of LawAccounting. So in LawAccounting, we divided the whole accounting system in multiple modules. We call them applications. So for example, if I go onto this 9 dots, it is showing me accounting setup as one module. This is our integration configuration piece between Filevine. Then there is a banking module. Then we have an expense management module. LawAccounting is just a general module we created where you can drop whatever tabs you want to work with. And then revenue management and trust management. And then for Filevine integration, we created this Filevine module where I can see all my projects, anything happening with those projects, any clients, we call them accounts, we can rename them. Billings related with this matter, any cash receipts or payment coming in, any payables and disbursements, any reports, all that under this particular module we added. And this is all dynamic. Whatever we're talking, this is built on Salesforce platform. This is all dynamic. I can actually change any tabs from here. I can rename. Just for the sake of this demo, we just put it this way. But depending upon how your requirements are, we can change that. So let's quickly take the overview of our setup. So our setup start with like general ledger, like which is your chart of accounts, where we are going to define all of your chart of accounts. Depending upon how your system is, we normally import from QuickBook. directly here. We have a tool created for that. So another good part about this one is like we have multiple AR and multiple APs when we define your chart of accounts. What does that mean is you can actually define receivable for each attorney, for example, or even matter type. So you can, when you're running those P&L or balance sheets, you can actually see like literally in the balance sheet, you can see by attorneys or by your, by matter or any way you want to define your ARAP. System is very smart enough. All we need to do is set it up in such a way. Another piece of in this one is accounting classes. That is pretty much like QuickBook concept where we are trying to segment your data. We can segment by anything you like. For example, some law firms divide by, let's say, location, multiple locations of their offices. Some go by the departments, some go by even matter types. So the idea of this accounting classes is that when you are running your financials report, for example, balance sheet, P&L, chart of, cash flows, you should able to filter them by accounting classes. And that will give you very specific information about that particular class. That class maybe matter, or even sometimes people put it attorneys. Then we have multi-company concept. That means like I can have multiple companies defined in the system, just like QuickBook, where you can have like your main firm, and then you have all the subsidiary firms or any other my investment firms. So you can all add it up here, and like all we need to do is when you do the transactions, we just need to make sure that you are in the right company, just like any other accounting software. We are supporting both accrual as well as the cash accounting so that you can run all the reports on both bases. And that's all set it up in the this company setup. And that's part of our onboarding. When you will hire us to do the onboarding, first thing we do is we look at your chart of account, we go through what exactly your requirements are, and we do the setups. Another module is banking. The banking is we connect with your bank. We are using the it's all included in this package. So that means you can actually connect your banks, your credit cards. If you have multiple credit card issued to multiple people, all can be connected, and all the data run through into the system. So like, for example, this is my just a test records here. We put it here for the demo purpose. So it's October month. I'm trying to do the reconciliation. I don't have a bank connected, so it is all empty, but I can actually link here with the bank transactions. And we are using all the AI feature of just trying to match, like what exactly is the match in the system versus your bank. So we are trying to make sure that you have all the high-tech things on this, and it try to match it. Like, for example, you put a payment in Filevine, it automatically come through into the LawAccounting, but then we are trying to match it with the bank also, so that you can do the reconciliation. So then, of course, like any other bank, we have bank deposits where you can like put some collection of the checks together or the total transactions. Like, for example, your wine pay is sending your money, let's say weekly or nightly, maybe for 10 customer together. So in the bank, you may have a different money. So, but we may have different payments in the system. So bank deposit help us to collect those together, or even withdrawal also, it help us to put together. So that was our banking module. Then we have pretty much like our expense module, where we have this all the vouchers, which is pretty much like your payables. You can pay the payables. If we have disbursements, your checks or your credit card transaction can be logged here. And this is like smart system. So like this is, we call them like a list view, where I can see everything. Like right now it's showing what like recently viewed. I can just go like, all right, show me all my approved vouchers, and it is just showing me all the approved. I can create anything. It's all dynamic. For example, I want to, let's say, decided to pay this, like 4 of them. So I'd say, all right, this has a balance, this has balance. Let me just go ahead and pay this. I can hit pay batch. System is smart enough. It is just gonna pick it up, try to see like what are my pay. So it is saying like, oh, my pay is same for all 3 checks. It is trying to collect them together. It's giving you the option like, hey, you want to send them a single check or multiple check, or how you want to do it. So let me just show you check. For example, let's say starting check is 125. Bank is, let's say, my. So right now it is saying me that these are all gonna be like different checks. Now, if I just go here and collect them together, it's all gonna be same check number. And if I hit pay, it is gonna just create one single, check, which is my single cash disbursement for that single pay. So these are some of the feature. Then we have a full working trust management. We have vouchers. Sorry, in the trust management, sorry, I click on the wrong one. Let me just go to the trust management. So in trust management, all your, if you're taking retainers, all can be logged here. We can see all the client ledger by each client. We can have what is their trust balances there. You can basically transfer between the clients. You can transfer between the cases, your trust. We have three-way reconciliation where you can see your bank statement, total of the trust, your client ledger, as well as your ledger, actual ledger working in the system. So it all compare, and system is really in a glorified way. It will tell you in a red color, like, hey, if it is there is a mismatch. Apart from that, we have this, as I mentioned initially, we have this Filevine module, which is pretty much like a connection module. So anytime Zach is going to create a project there, it is automatically going to flow. He was showing, I guess, Ashley Garcia. So this is Ashley Garcia. So it automatically brings that matter. And this information is very basic information we pulled together from Filevine. As I mentioned initially, like this is all dynamic system. So if tomorrow you say I need another 10 fields defined in Filevine, which I want to see it here for my reporting purpose in accounting, we can actually just map those fields and it can come here. And as he actually entered this billing there, so you can see all that billing starting from 12th of January, it actually populated here. It takes a few seconds, but then it all came here. Once you will start getting the payment, all the payments will start getting applied automatically here. And once he will put the check request there to pay to some of your vendor against, let's say this matter, this voucher will get populated. So I will get back to you, Zach, or if you want me to put, then you need to add me into this particular project so that I can add check request.
Yeah, Vikram, I was just doing the last invoice. I was gonna pay it. What's that invoice number by chance?
So I have
The first invoice number. Is it 412?
Let me just see. So I have, let me just make sure. So that's a great point because all this is invoice number
413.
Filevine. So we have, I guess, 413.
Okay. All right, let me share my screen and I'll show that. You can show that payment coming over into your system.
Yeah.
So here, I'll go ahead and share my screen. If we have clients that are just paying us, like in this case, maybe they're just writing a check, whatever. Here we can record that payment over in Filevine. I'll go ahead and hit create here. What that's going to do is it's going to pay invoice 413 off. It'll send that payment over to Vikram's LawAccounting system. And so we just try to keep all those things in sync. So that's just one other example of the accounting and the integration that we have there.
Let me share my screen. I'll show this payment quickly. So yeah, I mean, the moment the payment went in the Filevine side, so it automatically came here and you see there's a balance $0. If I go into the bill, it is showing me that balance is $0. It is already, the money got paid. And then if I go into the payments, I can see this is receipt got generated. And for our testing purpose, we just want to see from where it came from. Like, so we are saying like, hey, this came from Filevine. And this is pretty much it. I mean, it actually brought all the payment immediately. It bring all the bills. You can generate all the reporting feature here. So before we jump back to Filevine, Zach, just give me one moment. I just want to talk about these reports and the financials. Another good part about LawAccounting is that dynamic reporting system and dashboards. That's what is our selling point, is like we are so heavy on the analytics. So our selling logo is that we now it's time to move on from your entries to your accounting system. Now it's time for you to be more analytic on your financial data. So what does that mean is like we have all the dynamic dashboards in the system. For this demo purpose, we put together a few of them here, just showing you like voucher aging and transaction detail. And then we have a little more advanced analytics usage also. So for example, we have this trust management dashboards where I can see the trust, if you really care about the retainers and all this. And then, and these are all like literally I can edit it, I can drag drop. This is all as easy as it goes. And then of course, all the accounting reports are there. Like for example, your aging and reports by your clients. all those kind of stuff is there. And another important is like your standard reports, like your P&L balance sheet. So for that, we have a different, setup. So for example, I want to run profit and loss. I want to do this monthly. I want to start from 2023, let's say 10, which is my October. And I want to run just for October. And sorry. And it has basically, I want to run accrual or I want to run cash basis. I just want to run accrual basis. I want to compare with my last year. So, and it is bringing all the data here. Another good part is like, I can filter it out. There are a lot of zeros here. I can just simply say, all right, I don't want zeros in my system. I don't want to see any inactive GLs. If I want to show all companies data, I can actually put that all companies data. This is what I was talking about, segmentation of my data. If I want to filter this out by my attorneys or my matter type or by matter, or even my departments or location, I can actually put those classes and I can filter this data. Another good part is like, this is all these numbers are actually clickable numbers. So what does that mean is like, right now, if I'm saying, all right, service revenue, what does that mean in October? So I click on this, it will show me, and it will show me all the detail here, like from where this number came. I can actually see from what client was there, what was the actual, source record. If I want to see more detail, like how this $100 credit came in, so I can click on this source record, it will take me back and it will show me the detail about that. It's saying, all right, this was the bill, which actually brought this data, $100, and this is your actual bill, which actually fed into your profit and loss statement. So that is pretty much like our whole system. Like it is a full-fledged running accounting system, 100% integrated with Filevine. And if we get chance at the end, we may put some, check request at the end to see like how that data is coming through into Filevine, from Filevine to LawAccounting back to Zuzak.
Yep. Thank you, Vikram. And you'll see here on our side, we've got that payment request that was entered. We've paid off this invoice. We can also email invoices to our clients. So I've gone ahead and staged that next invoice that will be due in February. Here in my inbox, I've got that email. I can also pay that invoice here. So again, lots of different ways that we can allow and work with our clients when it comes to any piece of the communication, whether it's signing them up, whether it's getting payment, whether it's gathering data, all of that stuff can be done. All right, so we're going to go into the last piece here, which is the USCIS filing component, right? So we've taken care of the accounting, our clients are paying us, all this good stuff is happening. Now we want to be able to actually create some filings. So here you see our filing tool, and in the upper left-hand corner, we have the ability to create filing. We have visual cues along the way. So we tell you kind of what status things are in, whether they're complete, need review if they're reviewed, whether the documents have been sent back over to Filevine. Once we create the forms, we can combine those together with any cover letter, any appendixes that we need to have together. So here, I'll go ahead and create a new filing. We can go ahead and pick the project. That's the webinar one that we were just doing. We can pick the contacts from that project here. So I'm actually going to have Emily be our preparer. I'm going to have Chris. I'm going to have Ashley be our foreign national. And then we'll have Chris be our spouse, right? If you have interpreters that you use, we can also add interpreters in here. If there's other filings and other parties, you can continue to add other parties in here, right? If I hit save and next, I now have the ability to parse documents. And what you're going to see is V1, version 1 of our document parsing, but we're rapidly working towards version 2, which is going to be much more robust. And we'll show you some screens of that here at the end of the presentation. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and hit add document. I'm going to grab Chris's passport. I am going to indicate that that's tied to Chris. And then I'm going to indicate that it's a passport. I'm going to go ahead and hit submit for process. And what ends up happening is it takes that passport, and that passport, as I mentioned, Filevine is also a document management system. So here is that passport. This is Chris Smith, and it's actually going to read the passport, and it's going to compare the data that's in Filevine versus the data that it finds on the passport, right? And you'll note that we don't have a birth date. We do on the passport. We can choose whether or not we want to take what's already in the system, or if we like how it parsed the data better over here on the right-hand side, okay? So in this case, I'll grab all of that. I'll hit save and next. And then this is where we again start to get very intelligent about how we help you create your forms. You could one at a time cherry pick off and pick what forms you want, but we let you create bundles. So in this example here, I might have a package of forms that I always do when I'm doing a 130. So I'll click on this I-130 expedited. I'll go ahead and hit add bundle, and then it adds each of the different forms that are a part of that bundle. You guys as clients would be able to create your own bundles. So if you have, for example, a VAWA package that's always a certain set of forms, or a U-Visa package, you guys can create and define those. So again, streamlining that process for you as you go. So now I've got the forms there. I can go ahead to hit save and next. This is where another thing that separates us from some of the other softwares out there, we let you create separate G28s for each of the different parties that you're working with, right? So now I've got all of my initial data kind of input. I can go ahead and hit submit here. Once I hit submit, it's going to create that filing, and I am going to be able to work that filing in our system. Okay, so here I am now back in that filing. You can see that what our software does is it will grab any of the data that we already have. So we may have our attorneys be doing lots of filings. If we already have their information in the system, we're not going to have to re-enter that information. The data that we gathered along the way over in LeadDocket that made its way to Filevine, that's also going to have the capability to be able to be pushed over into the software as well. So we'll talk about the changes that are coming for profiles and for document parsing that would be available here in the first quarter. All right, so we've got our filing out here. And what happens again is that the questions that we picked in the beginning process of our filing, so if we click back over onto forms here, the questions that get asked for the preparer, for the sponsor, for the foreign national, those are all based on the forms that we pick. So if we had picked, in this example, on I-129, we're going to get a whole different set of questions than we would necessarily for the 130. So all the questions that we're asking along the way are going to be intelligent based on the forms that you're picking. We can also share these client questionnaires with our clients. So back over here on filings, we can actually copy this link. I'll go into an incognito window, but we would be able to text this link from Filevine. We could email it, but to your clients, it will look like this. And we use the latest in security. So they will have an either one-time passcode that they can get on their phone or on their email and be able to authenticate in and be able to do the work on their filing. So they can answer, again, questions that you need them to answer in order to complete the filing. Also, you have the ability to work in the language that you like to work in, right? So up here in the top, I think we have about 180 different languages. So if you have someone that you're working with that speaks Basque, or if you have someone that speaks Spanish, or if you have someone that speaks French, you'll be able to make sure that they can work in that way. Also, if you have staff members that help you that feel more comfortable working in those languages, again, you can toggle this drop down along the way, all right? All right, so we're back to English here. Okay, so now we've filled out all of our data. We're ready to go ahead and create our USCIS forms. So back over here on the filing, we have a button to send to Filevine. That's going to take the 3 forms that we talked about. It's actually going to create 4 because it will create 2 different G28s. So here I pop back over into my project. I'm just going to refresh my screen. And what happens is I've got a new folder here, and that folder has the G28 in it. It has one for both Ashley as the foreign national, a separate G28 for Chris as the sponsor. It's got the I-130, and then it's got the I-907. So we can go ahead and take a look at one of these forms. And you'll see here that we populate all the data that we entered over there back onto the form. So we create those final forms for you guys along the way. And then, of course, in order to make this a final packet, what we might need to do is combine some things together. So I can take my cover letter, I can take my exhibits, I can take my passport, I can merge those together with our document merging tool. I can then go ahead and add in the G28, I can add in the 130, I can add in the 907. I can change the order of these, right? So maybe I want the exhibits at the end, I want the passport at the very end, and now I can go ahead and hit next. I can put this into the folder that I'm already in. I can hit combine, and it's going to take all those documents and seamlessly put those together for us into one final package that we can then go ahead and use to actually do our filing, right? If we need to make edits, we've also got a PDF editor as well, and you'll notice the copies of the invoices that we finalized are available for us also. But if for some reason we needed to make another minor tweak to something cosmetic, whatever it is, we would be able to use our PDF editor to go ahead and update the form that way as well. So what we really hope that you guys take away from this presentation is that there's an experience that we can offer here for you guys that are running immigration practices. We know that lots of you are using different softwares, that those different softwares don't talk together. They have very little automation. There's lots of redundancy from data entry. And so we really want to help you guys become more efficient, become more automated, start to harness the power of AI. And we believe we've got a really robust tool set that helps you work your cases from intake, sign up, management, form creation, all of the invoicing and financial pieces. We want to really help you guys optimize how you practice. So those are all the things I wanted to cover here today. Any other questions that you guys have, you can put in the Q&A here. But Vikram, if there's anything that you want to add on your side, please feel free to do so.
Yeah, definitely. I think there's one question out there. I have the Filevine Immigration AI, but I don't know where it is located exactly. So Zach, that question may be for you.
Say that again.
In the open questions, you have one question. I have the Filevine Immigration AI, but I don't know where it is located.
Oh, I don't see the question, but okay. I'm not sure who the question is coming from. I don't see it on my side, but just let me know is that you, Daisy? Also, is that your question?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got your email from the chat. I'll reach out to you, and then we can have a communication on that. No problem at all.
All good.
All right, so let me bring back up my slideshow. I just want to make sure that, oh, hang on a second. You guys have the QR codes. So we don't expect that this answers every single question. What we're really hoping is that this starts a dialogue, right? We'd love to talk with you more about any piece of this component. I also want to show you what's coming next. So here you can see we have a Cuban passport. What I showed you before was only US. We are working quickly on profiles. So all of the data that we talked about pushing over, along with being able to read forms. So here's a passport. It's actually in Cuban. And you can see that we pull out lots of data from that passport. So here, as I click through, we can show you, we pull out the middle name, we pull out all of this other stuff. So this is another change that's coming quickly. That's why it's so important that we want to get you on documents, get you in the front end, so those documents are making their way into the system. But our AI is going to be able to read passports, marriage certificates, other kinds of documents. I even had a season ticket agreement that I needed to run through. Nothing to do with immigration, but the point is that the technology is going to let us pull the important data out so we're not manually keying it in, right? So here's another example from an I-94. Again, lots of different data that we're pulling out. Just imagine a world where we're not grabbing these documents, retyping the information back in. We're letting the software do that work for us so we can focus on working with our clients. All right. If you guys are interested in learning more about Filevine and your immigration practice, there's a QR code here that you can scan. We're going to send a copy of this webinar out to you guys afterwards. If you want to learn more about LawAccounting, here's a QR code as well. We hope everybody's having a wonderful holiday season. We'd love to hear from you more. We'd love to show you more about all of this stuff. We really have an appreciation for the special work that you guys do on a daily basis, and we'd love to see how we could make that easier for you.
Yeah,
All right.
before you
Vikram,
drop,
anything you want to add there?
I just want to say thank you to everyone. Really appreciated your time. I know everybody's pretty busy. I hope this helped you to see how the technology is changing so fast. Last time I worked on one of the immigration implementation, it was looking pretty weird, but within a year, I mean, so much technology advancement is here. So also at LawAccounting, also we are committed to bridging this gap of legal technology and accounting technology. So looking forward to hear more from you, and feel free to reach out to us and anytime, and we'll be happy to continue this discussion. Stay safe and happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.